What's up, everyone? This is Crown Draconian with the episode of Armchair Psychology, where we watch stuff like press conferences and one-on-ones to overly analyze fighters' behaviors, speech, trash talk, and things like that. And so there's a lot to take in with Armchair Psychology. Some of it's jokes, but some of it is serious. So let's evaluate both Francis and Anthony Joshua's disposition and the things they had to say in this one-on-one. And additionally, I feel like the UFC and boxing should do one-on-ones much more frequently, more so the UFC. I think I see them in boxing more often than the UFC. In the UFC, I feel like we get a press conference, which is entertaining, but that's it. When really they could be having one-on-ones for the major fight to build our anticipation. That's a poor job on the marketing department in the UFC, in my opinion, but whatever, we move. And so let's start this video.
Fury, Francis Ngannou sent a big message to the world of boxing. There's a new force in the heavyweight division. An old force, Anthony Joshua, had a year to
Francis Ngannou did beat Tyson Fury. Don't care what the judges said.
Remind everyone, he still sits firmly at the top table. On March 8th, live on DAZN, old force meets new force as former unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, takes on former UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou. Before they meet in the ring, they meet here, face to face. This is AJ Ngannou. This is Face Off.
Most people have no
Dude, are you serious? Whatever.
no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not.
Horrible timing.
Gentlemen, how are we? Good?
We're good.
Yeah. This was unexpected. No one thought this was supposed to be the fight. This was supposed to be Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Sitting here.
Yeah, that was my route.
It was supposed to be Deontay Wilder, but Anthony Joshua was running for years. Him and Eddie Hearn. I'm not going to get into this now. We're at this fight, but I hope Joshua doesn't say anything slick because he know he was running.
I saw that. Yeah, to stick in boxing, they spoke about this fight before, and I said, no, it's a gimmick fight. It's not something that I think is right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Anthony Joshua tries to act like he's this upstanding fighter who's always looking for the right fights. Stop it, dude. I know your gimmick.
Crossing over when I'm still chasing heavyweight glory, you know? And then I think when they saw what happened with his last fight, the situation with Wilder, this opportunity presented itself. But I never turned down a challenge.
Cap.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Mm. You called it a gimmick fight then.
Mm.
Is it still that? I mean, this is now you taking on Francis Ngannou as opposed to Tyson Fury when he did. Is it still a gimmick fight?
No, it's the biggest challenge of my life.
It's the gimmick fight. Fight is a gimmick. Overall, I think it's very funny because I think of gimmick fight like, I mean, we are crossing.
Yeah.
This is a crossover, you know.
So you're a boxer now.
Yeah, it's my second fight, my second pro fight.
Yeah,
and then I'm taking on the. So my two first boxing match, I'm taking the top one,
I think that's an interesting point because it's a gimmick fight, but it isn't at the same time. And I think that's because Francis Ngannou really proved himself against Tyson Fury in that first bout. I expected Tyson Fury to steamroll Francis, but we saw so much competence in Francis's boxing ability that he didn't necessarily show in MMA. We knew Francis was a prolific MMA striker, just as far as his power, inflicting damage, but as far as his technical ability, that was something we really hadn't seen until this Fury fight. And so it's a gimmick in one sense, but at the same sense, it's not really a gimmick because Francis has shown that he can compete on this level.
Two of the top three heavyweight boxer in the generation, so quite interesting.
You're going
right?
in at the deep end.
Huh?
You're going in at the deep end.
Yes, but it's good. As he said, it's a good challenge. It's very interesting. I always loved boxing growing up. Didn't have those opportunity since I grew up in Africa, and even when I came in Europe, like 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, I always want to stick in boxing, but you know, didn't have any opportunity around. So the opportunity MMA came around, and for me, he was an opportunity to like potentially like make my way up, and then maybe at some point crossover. And I always have that behind of my mind, and you know, he come to a consecration today.
Yeah, now you've crossed over.
Crossover, I mean.
And keep in mind, now that Francis has crossed over, his money has gone up insanely. I'm not pocket watching, but I'm estimating, or I'm guessing, that he probably made 10 to 20 million for that Tyson Fury fight. I don't know, but I'm happy for him, especially because of the way the UFC disrespected him as far as his overall treatment and his compensation. So I'm happy for Francis. I don't really care for Joshua, but I guess I'm happy he's getting his money too. I'll put it like that. He's the other half of this fight that I think is going to be entertaining and good. So kudos to you, Joshua, as well.
Boxer now.
You certainly are. After a really good performance against Tyson Fury, what did you make of that performance? Surprised?
No, not at all. I researched Ngannou and I've watched Tyson Fury box a number of times. People claim he's the greatest of many, many generations, but I think if I box Tyson Fury, a lot of similarities will happen in the fight.
No, Tyson Fury would beat you, dude.
So I'm not surprised at all. In terms of his style, who Fury is, it's just a boxing match. Well done to both of them. They put on an entertaining fight, but that's in the past. That's how boxing is, and we move forward now.
So where is he as a boxer? I mean, again, we saw that first fight against Tyson Fury. It was his first fight. Anything could happen. No one knew what was going to happen. He's ranked with the WBC now.
He's always wanted to be a boxer. He's good. UFC champion. You know what it is?
But not a boxer.
But there's a lot of stand-up game. And in his industry, people have takedown, submission, stand-up, better at kicking. So when he fights, he's fighting people that have aspects that are good in every category. So he might fight someone who's better than him in stand-up. So I've watched people that he boxes that are good at stand-up and how he's dealt with people at their stand-up game. He knows how to box. He's not, in terms of training, you probably do more rounds in boxing and fair enough than in the fight, but he knows how to box. He knows his way around. The only difference.
And this is a question I pose to anybody watching this video. What do you think is more demanding on your cardio? A 5-round championship fight in MMA or a 12-round fighting championship? And quite frankly, I'm not sure. I haven't done either of them, but they both seem pretty arduous. And so that's just a question I'm posing to anybody watching, and you can leave your comment below.
Difference is one's a cage and one's a ring.
I feel like you're getting a lot of credit now from people saying you know how to box. I don't think you would have got that credit before the Fury fight.
Yeah, but also you also have to understand that people will not believe in what they haven't seen. Like you just come around with this guy that has a 0-0-0 on his boxing record, and you're telling people that he can box, and nobody have ever seen him in the amateur boxing match or in the Olympic or any type of boxing competition. So it's hard for people to believe, you know, like that he can fight. People goes more about statistics, which sometimes which get them wrong most of the time. I always say, like, if I walk in the bar, I get in the bar, I see a guy who never been in the gym in his entire life. He's coming after me violently. I step back because it's a fight. You don't know what's going to happen, you know. And somebody will go there and then just his determination, throw some punch, and if he catch you, he catches you. You go down. It doesn't matter if you're a boxer or not.
I have a friend like that. I'm not going to say his name, but if you run into him in the bar, if you run into him at a bar, he doesn't look like he's going to do much, but you don't want any problems with him. He's one of those people you don't want to deal with. And I understand where Francis is coming from. You don't know who's coming with what.
So you better be careful, right? And then we get to the moment that I was in the position that I was already on top of my game, you know, MMA. I was a champion. I have like I have deal with high level competition, and then all those experience. And then people were still like, "Nah, he can't do," you know. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Unless we get there that day and find out, I'm not going to explain. You don't explain those stuff. You do, and then people see, and then you just make sure you do good, not get embarrassed, don't disappoint people, or don't make them right. get excited to prove them wrong.
And you proved a lot of people wrong. I want to go back a couple of weeks to when this fight would have been made. Again, this was supposed to be Deontay Wilder. There are other names mentioned, if not Wilder. Philip Hergovich for that #1 IBF spot. There would have been other names as well. Zhili Zhang, potentially. Maybe even a rematch against Joseph Parker, the man who beat Deontay Wilder. Why Ngannou?
I wanted to fight for the championship. I wanted to lead my career towards the championship. So, but this is still leading me towards the championship, though. It's still he's a boxer, so I have to win. And when I win, I'll move on to.
You're not winning this fight unless there's a robbery, by the way.
Fighting for the championship. That's boxing, snakes and ladders. You win, you go up. You lose, you slide down. So I have to.
I just can't stand the metaphors Anthony Joshua uses sometimes. Stop, man. Just stop. Snakes and ladders. No. Stop it, dude.
The win in order to continue on where I projected in my mind to get to.
It's funny you say that. You win, you go up, you lose, you go down. Ngannou on the books lost against Tyson Fury. Arguably, he's gone back up.
On the books.
So it works in different ways, right?
But what would happen if he won?
Still goes up.
A rematch potentially against Tyson Fury, maybe. This.
Fight and Alexander Usyk?
Potentially.
But undisputed. So you're always going to go up if you win.
Always, indeed.
But there's always big opportunities. This is another great opportunity for both of us.
Did you ever consider not taking this fight? When this fight was offered to you, was it a straight yes?
I called up.
You asked for the fight.
I asked for this fight. I watched him fight, and then I made a tweet.
Why?
Right away. Why?
Because he saw that Anthony Joshua is food.
Because there was an opportunity. I know that he was going to fight Deontay Wilder, and I saw an opportunity there. I made a tweet.
Now, I kind of feel a little bit jaded about that because it sounds like you kind of stole the fight from Wilder after Wilder's been seeking out this fight. But, I don't know how I feel about that, Francis. I don't know, man. I don't know. But you're looking out for your career, so I understand.
For this fight, I was calling for that fight. I was ready and like, this seems like an opportunity that I can slide in. Again, this is my second boxing match, and I'm fighting one of the best, one of the top 3. After fighting another top 3, so in 2 fight in boxing, I'm going to fight potentially the best in the world. And then something that I disagree with.
I want a lot of boxers to take note who are, mainly just boxers, not crossover stars like Francis. Francis jumped over to boxing and is immediately fighting the best of the best. He's fighting the champions, belt holders, things of that nature. There are guys in boxing who are scared to jump up in divisions that think they have to take tune-up fights and different things of that nature. I wish more of you would have the mentality that a Francis has. Hey, it doesn't matter which division I'm going up. I trust in my ability to win, so I'm going to fight whoever. I think that mentality should be more adopted in boxing. In boxing, that is. But let's keep watching.
With him, boxing environment that has said things like that, make people think like that. I think like when you have a good fight and then you had you fight well, that doesn't necessarily, even if you lose, that doesn't necessarily take you down as you think. Like I'm coming out of a loss. Supposedly, we can debate about that, but I'm coming out of a loss, but I still have an opportunity, right? Because I'm not viewing myself as I depend on the win. I see myself as I depend on the fight. What's going to happen? Yes, of course, I want to win, but I can win without really fighting. It's not the kind of win that I'm looking for. I really want fights. Yes, I really want to fight. And when you fight, even when you lose, people want to see you back. And that's how the sport is, because like...
He's absolutely correct. I want to see Ngannou in the boxing ring. And I want to see him back at MMA for the PFL.
When 2 people go to fight, obviously one person going to come out as a winner, and one person will win and one will lose. But they need a loser to make a winner. So you can... It takes 2 to tango.
Yeah,
right?
When the best fight the best, there is no defeat. Yeah.
So in my point of view, it's just having a good fight good. I worry about how I'm going to fight and all those stuff. And unlike him, I'm not here like focusing on like the championship, the title. I want some good fight, test myself, take a challenge and see what I can potentially do. I'm not. I'm aware of the situation. I'm not that young anymore. I still have a couple years. I didn't have those opportunities earlier.
And like Francis mentioned, I think he does have a couple years left in boxing. He seems pretty fresh. He hasn't taken a lot of damage in his MMA career, as far as I remember. Didn't take a lot of damage against Fury. Could we see Francis get maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in boxing? I don't put that past him.
Here in my career, so now I'm trying to do what I can possibly do with the amount of time that I have. Have the best fight, enjoy all those stuff. That's what matters to me.
In that fight against Tyson Fury, obviously you put Tyson Fury down, the world went crazy. I saw an interview you did recently where you said if you were to put AJ down with the same shot, you don't think AJ gets up.
Yeah, I have a doubt about that. Tyson showed that he's very resilient. I saw him come back.
And that's what I want to get to. I think Tyson Fury, he's a cheater. We can get into that in another video as far as steroids and stuff he takes, dodging, steroid testing, loaded gloves, which he did, various things of that nature. But what I do believe is Tyson Fury does have some heart and resilience. And we saw that when Deontay Wilder pretty much put him to sleep on multiple occasions. And Tyson continued to stand up, even if they're an extended count. Tyson's going to get up. What I think Francis is going to bring up is the lack of resilience in Anthony Joshua, which was most evident in his fight against Andy Ruiz, that first fight. And he had the chance to, if I'm not mistaken, get back in the fight, but kind of just catted out. And that's who AJ is to me. He's a scared fighter. He's a scary, scary fighter. And someone like Ngannou, someone like Fury, someone like Usyk, who already beat AJ. Wilder, even though he's a little bit past it. Just mentally, from that standpoint, AJ's just not on these guys' levels.
From a knockdown that you wouldn't believe that somebody will come down. So I think he's probably one of the most resistant person out there, and that's not a disrespect to AJ. I don't believe that AJ would take what Tyson.
You don't think AJ's resilient?
Agreed.
You don't think AJ has a chin?
As much as Tyson.
Who hasn't knocked Tyson down?
Mm-hmm.
So many people have knocked Tyson down.
What's your point?
Even going to the fight, I knew that even if I knock him down, I would not get excited. That would not mean anything because he always come back. So I have to prepare for a very endurance person. Psychologically, that's how I was.
The title of this fight is Knockout Chaos. You guys have seen it, right? It looks like old Street Fighter in terms of how they build it. Do you both expect to get a knockout here?
AJ doesn't. And if he says he does, he's lying.
Is that what both of you are built for, knockouts? You did it in the UFC for so many years. You've been doing it in boxing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Who's the last person AJ knocked out? I don't know. I literally don't know.
You knock people out. That's what you both do. Is that what we're expecting here?
That's what they want. We'll see.
What do you want?
We'll see.
I'm looking for, I mean,
you know what it is? People underestimate me a lot. People underestimate me, but no, I'm not saying you.
Francis's face, he's confused. He doesn't know what AJ's talking about.
But people, innit?
It's not underestimating you. It's
Your
like
opinion.
knockout chaos. So,
but who has knocked me out like that? Like when I'm like this?
No, that is not what they mean. It's like we both are going to look for a knockout. Which I don't think is a problem because
AJ's not coming in there looking for the knockout. He's looking to survive like he did against Andy Ruiz in the second fight.
I will try to knock out. If I have an opportunity, I will knock 100%. Out. And I think he will do the same thing. Yeah. So we'll make the knockout chaos.
AJ, you're the former unified heavyweight champion of the world, right? You are the boxing guy, if you like, in this dynamic. People are going to be expecting you to get the job done here. That's what they're expecting, right? Because of, again, your 2023 was fantastic. Is it a knockout or bust for you?
The knockout, it just comes naturally.
Do you expect to knock out Ngannou?
YouTube is something else, isn't it? Man, oh man. Like I said, he doesn't expect to knock out Ngannou. How long is it going to take this dude to answer the question? Let's do this. Hit this guy.
For you?
The knockout,
It's just going to come.
it just comes naturally.
Do you expect to knock out Ngannou?
This is Armchair Psychology 101. This dude is unsure of himself.
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I don't know. But it's going to be a good fight. It's not even the strength that I carry, it's the brain.
Dude, when you see someone do this and refer to their intelligence, they are not intelligent. AJ, dude, I have nothing to say. Let's keep watching.
I'll process what I need to process. I'll do what I need to do. And I just do my best in it. We'll see what happens, no? You never know
what's happened. I mean, as you said, knockout come naturally.
But
the only
I'm
time
ready to go. If it has to, you know what's better for me? I'm ready for 10 rounds. 10 rounds or 12 rounds?
10.
10 rounds, yeah.
Why
I'm ready.
Is it 10? Why is it 10 and not 12?
Oh, no, they tell me 12. I say, no, cut it out. No. 10. I'm not.
No problem.
Again, I'm not taking my Tyson fight as a
That's fair.
reference, like, oh, I'm a pro boxer now. I'm building up, right? I just came into it. I will know after 10 round, then 12 round, I say 10. Let's just.
Did you expect this to be harder than Fury fight? Do you expect this one to be harder? Because he's a different style, right? I mean, physically the same as you.
Style make fight. You know, if you asked me this question before, I would definitely say Fury fight would have been harder, because Fury is somebody that is hard to figure. He has like an unorthodox side. You don't know what to.
Yeah, Tyson Fury is a bit janky. Despite all his cheating and loaded gloves, he does have he has some intangibles. I guess you can't even say intangibles, but his physicality, his length, his height can be tricky to work with, especially when you compare that to someone who's as stiff as AJ.
Expect from Fury is it's very weird. AJ is very orthodox, but I get in the fight and then I was there. Then I was able to find something that worked for me, and then what was putting him uncomfortable. So I find my spot in that fight. In the AJ fight, I still have to do that. If the fight will be good for me from the moment that I figured out what fit for me. But definitely what worked for Fury is definitely not the same thing that's going to work for AJ. So I still have to find that out. Now that I have those information, I have collected those data from Fury, it's a different, I think about it differently. So now the AJ style is the more complicated one for me, because I haven't figured it out in the fight.
I asked AJ if he expects to knock you out. I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you expect to knock out AJ?
Absolutely. But again, as he said, I will not go for like, oh, let's go knock him out, because knockout is.
And that's the answer you want. He said absolutely right away. AJ had to think about it, say, man, am I going to lie? Am I going to tell the truth? I don't want to see that in a fighter. But ultimately, this is just armchair psychology. We're digging extra deep into things that really aren't worth it, but they can be.
It's natural. The only time in my career that I went for knockout, he didn't work well for me. He went really bad.
Stipe Miocic.
I walked to that fight like, okay, let's go knock this guy out. He ended up in a very bad way.
Right. So Francis, he showed a lot of his immaturity in that first Stipe fight. Yeah, ultimately lost. And then you saw just how much mature he was in the second fight. He was extremely calculated. He didn't expend his energy right away. He threw his shots in a very timely manner. He was just, that second Stipe fight was like a prime Francis to me. That was the pinnacle of his maturity in a sense.
For me, right? And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm just going back to who I am, fight. And then it happened. And then I was knocking people out in 20 seconds, 45 seconds without looking for knockout. So I don't look for knockout. I look for fight. And then if I collect the information at some point and have an opportunity, I take that opportunity, and then we'll probably end up in a knockout.
Final one from me. I want to kind of step back and let you guys tell each other. I'm going to start with you as the challenger here to the former unified heavyweight champion. Tell AJ how this fight plays out.
For me? Well, when I look at this fight, you know, I'm not a fool. I know I know that AJ is great at his game. I respect that. If I wasn't in the fight, I would have been betting on AJ. But as I'm in the fight, I'm betting on me, and I would take everything that I have in my stomach to come after AJ and do everything that's possible to take him down. And
I believe
if
that.
needed to knock him out, that's how I'm going to come after him. You know, like just as a sport man, but still want to like knock him out. Like, I'm gonna do that, you know, for my own legacy, for my own.
Francis really wants to put a hurting on this dude, not in a malicious sense, but just to really prove he's a fighter's fighter. AJ doesn't have that spirit. If you can't see that already, I don't know what to tell you.
Record for this. So that's how I view the fight.
AJ, you've heard this before from so many guys sitting in the opposite table. Tell Ngannou how this fight plays out.
Good fight. Styles make fights. He's a good switcher. I do the basics very well.
Very well.
I can counter punch. I can move forward. I can move back. I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I will be victorious. I have my own legacy, my own chapter, my own destiny that's destined by God.
Don't put God in this, dude. Don't, especially if you lose, man.
Everything is designed for me to come and be victorious and move forward in my life and move forward in my career. I'm looking forward to the challenge because it gives me opportunity to learn so much about myself. As much as it is about Ngannou, is as much as it's about me. The challenge that I have in front of me only makes me learn about myself. He's not the challenge. I'm the challenge.
AJ thinks he's Aristotle and he's not. And we're going to close it with that. We have a good fight. I enjoyed this face-off. AJ gave me something to laugh about. Francis had a more serious demeanor. I think they're both serious. Ultimately, I gave AJ a hard time because I don't like him for the way he was moving in boxing these past couple years. But I have nothing against the guy. I'm rooting for Francis. As someone who's a fan of boxing and MMA, I don't look at it as tribalistically as, oh, if Francis wins, that's a win for MMA. If AJ wins, that's another win for boxing. I don't look at it that way. I appreciate good fights, and I think both of these gentlemen, that's what they're giving us. So stay tuned for more content.